In its 15th year, the Warped Tour closed out its traveling music festival at the Home Depot Center in Carson for the third year in a row. Special theme stages were present throughout the summer-long tour with several bands that fit those themes. Bands like Silverstein and Thrice were featured on the main stage and drew large crowds of screaming fans and attentive observers. The Daily Titan sat down with founder and organizer of Warped Tour, Kevin Lyman, and asked him some questions about this year's tour.
There's always that people always go on tours, and it's weird on a Warped Tour that, it's weird when you go through life, and a lot of rock tours, people count down to the last day. And here people start getting a little, it feels good that people kind of get bummed. Because most of these bands have to get back in their vans, or they have to go back out, and they don't get the great catering. It's like they have to go back and tour with their bandmates, and that gets like, and they don't have 750 friends they're going down the road with. So, I mean, I don't know. This one was good. I feel like we worked real hard on this one. I work hard in every one of them, but I think I booked the eclectic show that I wanted to have this out here. I think there was a little bit for everything. I think we picked some diamond bands that were real, in the rough last, and now they're real touring bands. And now I got to go back and do it again. Band Yumi and Six kind of captured that moment, maybe like Bring Me the Horizon last year. I mean, I was all pleasantly surprised with Day to Remember, what happened to them this year. Then you got bands like that I just thought were great live bands, Westbound Train. And it's fun with the old school stage today. I mean, to be able to bring the Addicts, the Addicts slept on my floor in 1984. And I don't know when the last time but then to have them come up. And a lot of those old punk bands were the ones that were the biggest naysayers of the Warped Tour at the beginning. And for them to say, wow, this is like really cool, thank you for having us out, that makes me feel good. There's going to be some bands, I think I need to be careful, because to be honest, this year I booked a couple bands off of what I'd heard about them, where probably I need to go out and see them play live. I'm not going to, it's not, but there was a couple bands out here that probably their live show, because you have to have a good live show to be on Warped, they weren't ready for Warped, to be honest. And this year we're going to be really careful of just, putting, bands had a lot of hype and a lot of things, but man, you got to be ready to go here. First year bands. Therefore I Am. They were very cool. A lot of them had been on smaller stages. Yumi and Six, I've already said it. They just kind of impressed me as a good, solid live band. This band called Echo Movement. They played some shows, and they were great. I thought Dirty Heads were good. Ivy League. There's a lot. And then Reverend Peyton, to me, that was like something that I think that makes that eclectic of the music, the show, much different, and drew big crowds. And then sells 100 CDs after he plays. That's kind of cool. It tends to go that way, but now I'm more like, we work to develop bands. Now we're looking at it and going, where last year it was like Day to Remember, 303. There's a couple bands out here that we've been working with that 2-3 years in a row, a couple years. 303 played one show 2 years ago. They played on a small stage last year. We brought them up into the main stage. There's a couple bands out here that I think I'd like to bring up and give them that main stage spot. So what happens is we build them, and then the next year we rebuild, and it's nice. I think there's a balance there. And I don't think that policy, like Devil Wears Prada came back from it. So a few of them did, and I think we'll have a few next year. It's like, you didn't expect it to go 15 years, so okay, well, let's and I think we got something special kind of figured out.
Okay. Oh, cool.
We had something figured out last night. I think for me it was, you always look back now at the cities you're in, so like LA. For me it's, it's kind of like, today I was just walking around and I was like, wow, it really feels good to be able to brought a show, because back when this started out, punk shows, this kind of edgy show. Down here when we used to do the Velodrome, there was some gnarly people, it was like still that kind of old punk scene would come down, and to just walk around there and just see people having fun today. My moments have to be very short, like 10 minutes ago. That's my favorite moment. I don't know, favorite Warped Tour moments. For me, it's always a lot of times like big weather events, like when we have to figure out how to keep the show going in some big store, because you don't realize in Southern California, it does the rest of the country, it rains all summer, off and on. So you have to kind of be ready for it every day. years ago we put TSOL on the show, and the kids would run scared because they had no idea. And you and Jack would be up there, you know, ranting, and now kids can, when we announce it, they can go do some research and realize the history. And now you got Dad coming with his son, and the son might have a yellow card shirt and bad religion, but you know what? They can bounce back and forth and see. And I get a lot of things from parents telling me now. This is the first time the best I've communicated with my kids was after we were driving home after watching the Old School, and I can talk about them, and they can talk to me about their new bands. That's cool.